Hi there, it's Veronica again, an American expat living in Portugal. I've gotten so many emails and questions on my social media, on Twitter and YouTube, Facebook. The last video had almost 50,000 hits between all the social media, so I've gotten a ton of questions and I figure it's time for another video. So sit back, grab that cup of joe, you know I can talk. Hopefully this video helps you all, but thank you for checking in and following the channel. I hope I can help you. Yeah, as an update, there is a travel blog called Pop and Smoke, and they're wonderful. They wrote an article that's way better than I can ever do. And so it's www.pop and smoke, which you know what the military does when they leave, they pop smoke, they come in, they pick everybody up and they go. And so I also tailor this a little bit to the military community, as well as all Americans and English speakers or people who understand English that want to consider moving or exploring the option to live abroad, and specifically in Portugal. So a little bit about me. I'm 53 years old, had a birthday since the last video. So I'm 53 and I live here. My husband unfortunately passed away as we were moving here. I did continue the plan, but if I can do it, and I can do it in a time of grief and when it was hard, I think many other people can as well, but there are some caveats to that and we'll discuss that later. So today I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the most questions I get most asked, get asked the most, which are bringing a car over, should you not do it, banking, how to get your money here, from dollars to euros, your health insurance that just comes up over and over and over, where to live, visiting, and then I am a real estate agent here now, but I only take a few amount of clients, so I can refer you over, but I've gotten a lot of requests to show people homes, and again, I'm retired and my time is important to me, so I do have another friend. I'm building a big network to help people across the Algarve, which is the southern section, the most southern point of Portugal. So with that, let's get started. Okay, so Pop and Smoke, a good article, and I'll post the links below. I also have a resource sheet, and I'm gonna make a little autoresponder. I've been sending them all independently, and it takes me sometimes a few hours or a day to get those off. So I'm gonna make a little click button where you can click and get that PDF sent immediately. So if you're looking at this now and you want my resource sheet and the things that I've collected, tips and tricks, it'll send you that automatically, and then you can automatically subscribe. As you know, it's been a month since I've done anything, so you're not gonna get spammed. I'm gonna try to send something out maybe once a month and keep this up. I still wanna have a life and enjoy traveling around Portugal. So thanks to me, subscribe to get my resource sheet. Okay, so again, with all those views, and I'm looking on YouTube as well, there's 432 comments, so that's a lot to reply to, and I like to be kind and help, but I think, keep typing, I'll keep responding as I can, but it is easier to answer, I think, questions and a lot of the common ones on a video than you scrolling through 432 comments trying to find the ones that pertain. So I think this is a little more fun. Just grab a cup of joe, enjoy some time. Okay, so let's start with visas. In my previous visas sections, I've mentioned about the golden visa, okay? And that's if you buy a property 500,000 or more, and there's two other ways, rehab ways, 350,000, and another one, but they've just changed, as of January 2021, they've changed areas. So I think that's such a moving target. I'm gonna kind of aim you more towards a D7 visa, which allows you to come over here for 4 months and pick one of the other visa options. So I'm gonna put a link to a company that does a beautiful job with them, and also some links if you want to do it yourself. I'll put some links on how you can do that. I was referring a really good Facebook site, but they're not posting a lot of what I'm writing, and I've sent so many people to them. I feel like it's been filtered, and I got a little bit of bad advice, so I did take that Facebook group off. So I think everything needs to be symbiotic, and getting to the point of giving versus taking. Always give more than you take, right? So the visa process is a little bit more streamlined because of COVID now. You can go through a lot of things online that you used to have to do personally. So that's important. And again, I'll put that later in. And I think what I'm going to do is call a couple of my attorneys and get a Zoom call. So we'll start making some Zoom calls where we can get them on board to talk about visas, and you can ask them questions, because for the real legal type things, whether it's a lawyer or visa information, I prefer that you ask the experts. I have general knowledge, but again, it's a moving target, and I think when we get them on board, that will help you a lot more. So the one thing that they did add since last time is that they're saying you'll need a Portuguese bank account now to apply for the visa. So that'll, of course, make it a little bit trickier. But I do recommend, come and visit. There's a lot of people who are like, oh, where do we live? Where should we go? And it's like, oh, you really need to come here and check it out, because, the north to the south is so different. The Algarve, just east to west, is different. You have to think of, like, trying to say, I want to live in California. It's such a big state, San Francisco down to San Diego. There's so much, and there's the inland areas with the beautiful, vineyards and farms. There's the mountains, there's lakes. It's so similar to California. It's crazy as far as the hills, the geography. Even when I'm driving around, I look at the beautiful hills and go, oh, this is San Luis Obispo. And then I go down towards our, fancy golden triangle with the, $7 to $10 million homes, and go, oh, this is our Newport Beach. Okay, so getting back to questions. Money, okay. A lot of people have been asking how to get your money here. There's a few different ways you can use an exchange service, and I've heard everything from Revolution to TransferWise, which I have not personally used. What I use is Charles Schwab. So anyone, hi military friends, if you had your money in USAA and you had an IRA or 401k that you or your spouse or other members of your family were using, they've now converted that over to Charles Schwab anyway. So Charles Schwab, big investment company in America. I think many people are familiar with them. If you have an account with them, so if you don't, you'd have to open an account, a brokerage account, but then they have a checking account. And the checking account, again, I'll put the link on, and there's also been some reviews on it. They don't have any fees at the ATM. So obviously when you go here, you go to the ATM, they'll reimburse it if you do get hit, with a fee. At the end of every month, they just reimburse any fees because they really don't have banks. It's very similar to USAA, where they reimburse stuff. And the reason I don't use USAA, that account, to take money out of the bank here is because their exchange rate, I don't think, was as good as Charles Schwab. So do your research. Personally, that's who I chose to use, and you just show up here, put your credit card in, and get the money out. Now try this at home first. I did have a friend that flew over and we connected. Hi friend, you know who you are, I won't call you out, but she did this right before she got over. Like, she communicated with me, we got her over here, she was looking for business, so she was able to come during COVID, and email me that if you need assistance in getting over here to set up a business, because you can get invited over. It's a special program, but don't abuse it. Let me know, and we can get you over here. And hopefully the borders will open soon. We're seeing all, these vaccinations coming out, and I'm hoping that within 6 months to a year, the world opens up again, and you can come to Portugal and find where you want to live on your own, right? Without having to jump through too many hoops. Oh, and there will be a visa process, just like America has ESTA, ESTA, which if you're a European person, you have to apply to go to America. It's just an online process, takes a few days, and it's good for 2 years. Europe is instituting that as well. They were going to institute it in January, but my understanding is it's the end of the year. Again, I'll put that link on my resource sheet also, so you can click where you go online and you get a visa to come in and out of Europe, so they can kind of track people. I think they were trying to do what America's doing. They're trying to see that they see it's worked there, and they're trying to follow that line. So a Schwab account, but do try it, because she tried it and all of her everything wasn't set up correctly, so she could only get a small amount of money out. So you'll want to make sure it's set up, do this in advance, and you can just transfer money in and out of your accounts. I have like 4 accounts in Schwab. I have 2 that are for savings and retirement, and then two that I use, and I use for daily expenses. So you can pull, so I have two cards. In Europe, you can pull out at the regular ATM about $200 twice, but if you go to the Euronet, you can pull out, you can push a button that says, it says up to 600, and then you can push other amount. If you push other amount, you can get up to 800. And thank you, Cindy Clark, for that tip, because I could only pull out 600. When you go to the bank, you get your euros out, but then a lot of times you'll go into the regular bank to deposit, so you can pay your electric bill or whatnot in euros, and those are auto deduct. But take a look at Schwab. I mean, you can do the TransferWise, Revolution, all of those. I just have no experience with it. It's just been so easy with me for Schwab, and since I had an account there anyway, why not just do it that way? They have a great exchange rate, and again, do your research, make sure you're comfortable with it. Talk to your CPA, talk to your financial professionals. But I've been very, very happy with it. And I go to the Euronet. Very important subnote on the Euronet, they have high fees, which they will reimburse the ATM fees, so you don't get hit with that. They also have an exchange rate that's pretty harsh. So you make sure that you're getting your bank's exchange rate, which Schwab gives you their industrial, Barclays rate. So make sure when you're at the ATM button, you hit that, or ATM, you hit the button that says decline exchange, because they'll give you their exchange rate, the Euronet exchange rate. Hit decline, and they'll ask you again, decline. So twice you're going to hit the decline button in order to get your bank's exchange rate versus the ATM's exchange rate. So big trick. And then if you want more than 600, you hit other amount, and you'll get up to 800. And that may change in the future. We may be able to get more, but for me, I don't really use cash too much here. I use it for all the cafes. I use my card everywhere I go, and they're really encouraging that with COVID, because the touchless is popular. So if you can get a touchless card, I don't think Schwab has that, but keep your good American credit cards. One thing I found in Europe is, one, with the bank accounts, they have something called a negative interest rate. So when you're here and you're opening up your bank account, you might want to think about just putting in enough for your needs. So I was just talking to Dutch friends. They get charged 1.2% of their balance as a negative interest rate. In addition to that, their fees, my local bank here, it's $6 to $7 a month. I use Santander. Millennium people seem to really like it. It has an easier setup process. And then the general bank deposits, Caixa of Portugal, people like those I see they have the longer lines. So Santander tends not to have the longer lines. I think it is because the setup process took forever. I literally felt like I was filling out a mortgage application for a bank account. You've got to have your fiscal number, which that's a whole nother call, and that's on my resource sheet. If you're not here, you can get an attorney to do that for you, and you'll need to get it anyway because someone's got to vouch for you. But your financial number, right? It's called the NIF, your fiscal number, to open that bank account. And sometimes the banks will help you with that too, but again, that will be the attorneys. And on my resource sheet, you're gonna hear that a lot, my resource sheet, because I think, again, it's easier just to click, get everything you need, and go down the list. I do keep my American dollars in America, and take out what I need for like gas, electric, everything's auto deposit through the Multibanco. Multibanco is another name for your bank card, your ATM machine, the Multibanco. You pay gas, electric, everything comes automatically, or you can actually type in and pay it, and you can put money inside as well. I'm so uncomfortable with that, but my friends told me they did it and it was no problem. They pulled money out of the ATM, right out of their Schwab. They do the same thing I do, pull money out of their Schwab, and where they were just paying their health insurance, and it was a couple $1,000s. So of course the machine only spit out 10, so they're sitting there trying to feed the 10s in to the machine, and they finally did it. I prefer to go inside, see my friendly banker, and go here and get the receipt right there, but he said it was no problem. You put them in a chunk and it feeds them through, but it still took him a while. I'll let him tell you that story someday. I want to do some fun videos where I get some of my other expat friends and American friends on here, and we just laugh and giggle about the stories that we go through. You have to have a good attitude when living abroad. There are times you want to bang your head against the wall and go, what did I do? But there's so many positives as well. And someone asked me what the negatives were. I hate to go through the negatives, but maybe at the end of the video, I'll go through a few things that will have you hitting your head going, okay. But we'll leave that for later, or for those that, you're having your coffee or wine or tea with me. Okay. Speaking of money, the double taxation. So again, I always say go to your CPA. People look at the NHR, non-habitual regime here, which is a program that I'm signed up for. And what it means is if you make money here, you pay 20% flat tax here. Now, Portugal and America have a double taxation treaty. So what that means is if you pay in one country, you don't have to pay in the other, unless you reach a certain amount, right? So again, this is a CPA question. It flows, it's gone up and down through the years. You know, years ago it was 80,000, it's up to 100 and something. So once you reach that amount in Portugal, then you will owe in America. But what you earn in America, you pay in America. So I have an annuity and that gets taxed in America, so it does not get taxed here. But you still file taxes in both places. So you'll still be filing American taxes, and then you'll be filing taxes here in Portugal. Because my ones here in Portugal are so simple, I just take, scanned copies and send them over to my tax guy, and he has it done within a day or two, and it's 100 euros, 130 after all the service fees and everything. So they do tax on services here. I know in California, they've been talking about that for a while, taxing services. Be happy we don't tax services in the States. We tax so much that, some states might, I don't know, but California was talking about that. And when you see, oh, it was $100 to file my taxes, and you get the bill that says 130, you go, euros. Sorry, I use euros and dollars wrong all the time. I'm still, my brain. So, you see the bill for 130 and you go, why was it 130 euros? And he goes, well, that's the tax. It's a service tax. It's like, wow. So he's got to pay a service tax, and then if he pays himself, he'll be paying income tax. Ouch. There are taxes in California, there are taxes here. Okay, so, but the good thing is if you're retired and you're living on less money here, you'll be taking less money out. So you'll be paying less taxes there, unless you get the multi-million-dollar mansion, then you might be paying a bit more. Okay, so that's a double taxation. Again, I have my CPA and that resource sheet, use who you like, but I've been really happy with it. And bringing a car or not. Oh, let me go back to health insurance. So health insurance, again, I'll put the list on. I have signed up for health insurance. It was 600 a year, so 50 a month, euros. And things are covered. I just had to have x-ray for my back. My back's been a little tweaky, and I had an x-ray, and I paid for the bill. It was $420, and this ended up going through metal, through AFPOP. I'll discuss that later, metal and AFPOP. And when I brought my Allianz card, because it's actually through Allianz, the French company. I know a lot of you have heard it that are travelers, because you'll see that for your travel insurance. They have a travel insurance component, and it gives you a couple months as you travel, free travel insurance, so you won't need to buy that when you travel. Non-COVID in the future. I say that a lot. Okay, so with that one, it was $420, and I'm like, ooh, I have to pay 420 euros for this, and I'll get reimbursed. She's like, no, €4.20. That was my copay. €4.20. And I literally, thank goodness I had 20 cents in there. So counting out my little 20 cents. I don't think I've ever been to the doctor and giving them $4.24. That's about $5. You figure 15 to 20% is about what we lose on the dollar per euro. So if you give me $1, I'll give you, I've seen it as low as 80 as well. So you'll get back between 80 to 95 cents back in euros, and the 95 hasn't been there for a while. So really, I average about 15%, and when the exchange rate's good or bad, that's about what it comes out to be. If you're transferring big money to buy a house, I bought my place here, you'll definitely want to pick the right day and do one big transfer over at that point as well. And then talk to your accountant, because of course, transferring money to other countries, the government's going to want to make sure you're not, a terrorist or something, and giving money to bad places. So again, you're moving to another country. Do not try to be cheap. And I know people don't like the cheap word, but use your CPA and use a tax professional. There's no reason to do it yourself. Just use these people. If you can't budget to do it, then this may not be the right place for you. You really need to make sure you're doing things right. You are moving to another country. You still have citizenship in America, and then you'll have residency here. So unless you give up your citizenship, you will always need to file taxes back home. Now, you won't be filing state income taxes, well, unless you've got a business earning money there, but if you're completely retired, you'll be filing still federally, right? So you'll file federally, any money and income made there, you'll pay there, and then you'll file here. If you don't earn anything here, you won't be paying here. If you do earn here, then you'll be paying the flat rate 20% if you go NHR. And again, this is always a changing subject, so make sure you talk to your accountant. They've added a new 10% fee on to Europeans. So again, this confuses people. They're like, oh, do I have to pay 10%? Again, double taxation with America and Portugal. If you're paying your taxes in America, you shouldn't have to pay here unless you breach those limits. Again, talk to your CPA. They know this stuff, okay? Bringing a car or not. This is a big one. Everybody wants to bring their car. I love my car. I want to bring my car. I had a horrible experience, and I know a lot of people, even from Europe, that have had horrible experiences trying to bring your car here. This is the one thing that Portugal's been hit on between the press. Just Google it. The Resident is one of my favorite newspapers, and then Portugal Daily News here. They're English-speaking newspapers, and just go to it. I mean, and you'll see the EU hits Portugal with fines all the time because they're trying to charge even EU citizens an exorbitant amount of money to bring their car over, and it's supposed to be EU to EU. So as an American bringing it over, I brought it over through the UK. I had a way to do that. And again, it's supposed to be EU to EU, and they still wanted $17,000 to integrate my own car. So I ended up sending it back to the UK, which was great. They came and picked it up for 600 euros, which was nice. So I didn't have to drive all the way back through France, Spain, and the Channel, which was kind of fun on the way down, but didn't want to do it again. And so I lost a lot of money on my car. So don't, especially, you know, they have cars here. They're made for the EU. I bought a Kia here. I got it from the Kia dealership. It was 20,000 euros out the door. And I just transferred everything from my bank right there. I just used my ATM card. I transferred the money from the States and then used my ATM card, and paid for my car on my ATM. They have financing, and actually if you want to finance your car, you get a much better deal. I think it cost me $2,000 more because I did not finance. So Kia had a deal with Santander Bank, but you know, it's a higher interest rate, and I don't want to finance if I don't have to. So but my car's been great. It has a 7-year, 70,000 mile warranty. It's not my BMW. I was really sad because I love my BMW, but the BMW was super expensive to service here anyway. I was taking it to Spain to service. I live on the border, and it was so expensive. You void, when you bring your car over, you know how in America, the BMW, well, when I was there, it had the 5-year, 50,000 mile warranty, and you would just take it and they do oil, they would do everything except tires, right? Here, it voids warranty. So if you think, oh, you know, I'm gonna get still my service for free, nope. And it cost me $2,000, 2,000 euros to change the lights, 2,000 euros. So add another 15% to that. I mean, it was expensive to ship and the paperwork, and there's just no reason, unless you just bought a new car, try to sell it to a friend or give it back to the dealer, or just don't buy one, and take your money and buy it here. Again, 20,000, brand new Kia. It's got all the new technology. Is it my BMW? No, but you don't want to be high profile if you're driving through Europe anyway. I mean, really stay low, stay under the radar. People are gonna bang into it anyway. The parking spots are tiny. In Spain, I got hit driving down the road. I was driving down the freeway. Yeah, it was stop and go, but when I was going, someone hit me. I'm like, okay, I get it if I stop, you know, you miss it. Guy hit me while I was driving. Then I was in a hotel and parked, and someone sideswiped my car in the parking lot. So there's just no reason to bring a fancy car. I don't want to say horrible things about the drivers in Spain, but man, I've had some. I'd like to think I'm a pretty good driver, but dang, I'm like, what are you people doing? Like, did license come out of the Cracker Jacks box, cereal box? Like, what the heck? Germans go through a lot to get their driver's license though, so the Germans are really, really good. I'm sorry, but y'all that have been to the other countries and see the drivers, you know what I'm talking about. don't need a fancy car. Just something to get you around, something to be safe with, and you can buy them here. No problem buying them here. There's dealerships all up and down. And so mine was 20,000 because I bought the dealer model. So there was like 4,000 or 5,000 kilometers already on it, which is great. You know, it's been driven, you know, it's in good shape. And I got a little discount. So y'all know how to bargain on cars. You can do the same thing here. Okay, so speaking of cars, driver's license. You will need to exchange your driver's license. So, you know, get that extra copy back home. I didn't say that, you didn't hear that from me. Because you will give them your driver's license here. And I didn't do it in the right amount of time because I was getting the documents during COVID. My package didn't get back in time. You get your DMV report that shows how long you've been driving and that you don't have any big issues. And you get that sent to the Portuguese consulate, whatever one you're working on for your visa, and you send them a check. And again, I'll put the link on there. It's all within your Portuguese consulate website. I use the San Francisco one because that was the one closest to my son in California. I used his address to have him send everything to me, for me. So you send them a check with the certified copy of your DMV report, and then they have a form that they give you, a driver's certificate. So I was given bad information on another site. That's why I kind of took that site off my resource sheet. They told me that I also had to have it apostilled, which is like a notary stamp, but even stronger, at the Secretary of State. So I sent it off to the California Secretary of State, and they couldn't even do it. I sent them a certified copy from the DMV with my check, with a cover letter on why I needed it, that I was going to be exchanging my license for one in Portugal. And they sent back a letter. Oh, you need to send the check. You need to tell us why you want it, and it needs to be a notarized copy. So why do you need to notarize a copy of a legal document that is already validated from the same state? Boggled my mind. So I just thought, okay, I burned all my time trying to get that component. The Portuguese embassy was super fast. They were great, sent everything back that I needed quickly. They did apostille the driver's history, because that does need their stamp, right, to say that they acknowledge that this is a true copy of an American document. So they sent all of that really fast, and I even had a quick question. I said, oh, you know what, I don't see the exact amount for this driver's certificate, and within a day they responded back, it's this much. They were so kind and so helpful and fast. So I know other people have had different experiences. I didn't, and that was just email and mail. So unfortunately, I burned my timeline, and I've heard differences that Americans have 6 months after residency, and I've also been told 2 years because this year they were changing it, but I think it's still 6 months. So just plan on that to stay within the correct model when you get over here. That mentally, once you get your residency certificate, then you'll be exchanging your license quickly if you intend to drive here. Because I've earned it, I get to take lessons. So I have to take the Portuguese exam. Oh my goodness, so I'm gonna have to be studying my Portuguese. Direct in front is in front. Left is, oh shoot, I even forgot left. Doggone it. Oh, esquerda. I have to do name association. You're scared to make a left turn, esquerda. And directs, oh shoot. Anyway, okay, Portuguese lessons. There's a lot of good places for Portuguese lessons. I'll also put that in my resource sheet. Just depends on how you like to study. I found a video that I love that I play also when I'm in the car, and I just listen to it. Okay, so health insurance, depending on which one you get. My friends that are older bought the most expensive one, $2,000 a year. I bought the cheap one, $500. I'm probably gonna upgrade it to the $1,000 a year. But you know, if you budget 100 to 200 euros a person a month in health insurance, you'll be more than covered. Plus there's also the Portuguese health insurance. When you get your driver's license, not health insurance, the public system, when you get your driver's license, you do have to go to a doctor's visit to show that you're capable to drive, and then they ask you about your eyes. They don't do an eye test, but they ask you if you wear glasses. With that, I had to go first to the health system and register as a resident under their health system. So I'm now in the public health system, and that was easy. It took 10 or 15 minutes. I took my residency certificate, my passport, you know, all the things I needed to take, showed it to them. They typed in the system, gave me a piece of paper, and okay, you're now in the system. And that allowed me, when I went to my private health clinic, that they can still access the system, the government system, typed it in, so then I could get my driver's permit. Yay, I've been driving since I was 16 and I have a driver's permit now in Portugal. Okay, so don't do that. Don't burn the timeline. It's not gonna be fun. And then I had to drive and get a picture taken and okay, anyway. But if you do that, or you're already here and you're watching this, I'm in Villarreal de Santo Antonio, which is the very southeast corner. There was a great driving school here that filled out the forms. I gave them 150 bucks. I believe in paying the professionals. I went in, here's 150 bucks. They filed everything for me. I gave them all the documents and my driver's license. My California driver's license is gone and I don't have a duplicate. So they took that paperwork and filed for me, and then eventually I just had to go down. They sent a text saying, okay, here's an appointment where you go down and take your picture. So then I did have to drive to Faro and take my picture. I had an appointment at 9. By 9:30, we're all standing on the street. By 9:30, the guy came out and called my name. So I felt bad for the people that were, had the 10 and 11 a.m. appointments, because they're gonna be there a while. And you need to know that. Moving to Portugal, you wait. People wait here. Be patient. Breathe. It was so funny. I was having coffee the other day in town, and yes, we're pretty much open again here in Portugal. In the Algarve, we really haven't had too many COVID cases, so it's been pretty open. During the holidays, they put on some curfews to keep, people from gathering too many in one area, because they're wonderful people. They're family oriented, and they have huge gatherings, and they go to dinner late and then they stay out and they socialize. So they had to put some curfews during some of the holiday times, and there's a lot of holidays here. Get out your holiday calendar and look at how many holidays are in Portugal. So okay, the next one, oh, I forgot my story. Sorry, getting old, brain fog. We were sitting down and another friend came by, and before you know it, you've got your maximum of 5 or 6 people at a table, and we're just sitting at a cafe chatting. Suzanne, hi. She's got apartments in Villarreal, so if you need apartment referral, let me know. She rented to one of my buddies monthly for like $5.50, and it's a cute little place. 550 euros. It's a cute little place with decks around, but it's a little small, but it's close to downtown, so it's good. And she said, oh, my contractor's at my house, I have to go. And she sat and continued having coffee. I'm like, well, don't you need to go? And she's like, yeah, it's Portugal, they wait, they'll be fine. That's the attitude here. You wait, it'll be fine. And you need to know that when you're on the receiving end. Slow down, breathe. If there's an appointment, don't worry if you're late, don't worry if they're late. I mean, do your best, be respectful. We still kind of have that vibe, but I think that's where, when I was buying my property, and I just had friends renegotiating their lease, and it took them a week to communicate and get back, and they're all panicked, and I'm like, don't worry, it's fine. Then I had another friend. I don't do a lot of real estate here because, again, I'm retired and I just want to do the fun special things, not the everyday running around for the average house. And I always joke I wouldn't take me as a client, but I have really good referrals. I have people I can send you to. He was panicked because he put an offer on in a house and they didn't respond the same day. And I'm like, just give it time, give it. And he hammered the agent like day, all the time. And eventually they just said, oh, sorry, it's sold. Was it sold or not? I don't know. We'll see in the future. But if you're kind of pushy and obnoxious like that, and then he was even more pushy because he was from another culture. It wasn't the American culture, it was another one. So he was really panicked, and it just turned off the agent, I think. We'll see. I'm going to watch that property, but you just relax. Things are good here. And that goes into also being kind, right? This culture of being kind. The Portuguese people are humble, friendly, wonderful people. I love them. I have not had any bad experience except for the mean lady at Pingo Dolce, which I think she just doesn't like her job. So just like America and other places, there's happy people and not so happy people. But traditionally and on the whole, I find the Portuguese people just happy, humble, willing to help, friendly. They speak English. I put the link also on my resource sheet. It's number 7 in the world as far as English language proficiency, and that doesn't include English language countries, so it doesn't include like America. So out of 100 that they took and gave tests, they do this test every year, Portugal's number 7, and they've been friends with Great Britain for a long time. And in the Algarve, the very beachy, touristy kind of area, again, like the Southern California is how I like to reference it, is the British come down here all the time. So they speak English because that's their primary way to communicate. We all try to learn Portuguese, but man, it is a hard language and we keep trying. And when you say something to them and they know that you speak English, they speak back in English, which is kind, but it makes it a little bit more difficult to learn. So every day I try to learn a few more phrases, and hopefully eventually I'll be able to have full conversations, which I think my neighbors are waiting for that. Wonderful neighbors. They keep saying, how's your Portuguese? How's your Portuguese? I'm like, well, everyone speaks English, so I'm trying. But for the people who really are afraid, yes, you can get by speaking English here. It's kind to learn the language of your host country, but if you really can't, you will be fine. Now, in the middle of the hills, so if you go on the interior to small villages, not so much. So Portugal was a, not quite a dictatorship, but it was fascist, and it wasn't that long ago. Once that all ended and revolution happened, after Salazar, they required English in the school. So anyone who's about 40 to 50 has learned English in school. Whether they've practiced or not so much, but the kids, they're speaking English, and we're very fortunate that English is that kind of main bridge, because I find when I meet Dutch friends, French friends, German friends, we all end up speaking in English because it's a common language, which thank goodness, because my German is bad, French, and Portuguese is even worse. So we are very, very fortunate that English is kind of that bridge that many of the different countries learn. So doesn't help me learn other languages, but I can communicate. Okay, so I mentioned AFPOP before. That's in the Algarve. It's our expat association. I'm putting a link with that. It's like 50, 60 a year, and they do a lot of fun activities and socials when we're not in COVID. Again, I'm gonna say that, when we're not in COVID. And I've called them for help on things here and there, and they've been able to help and send links and papers to me. So they've been kind, and I've gone on 2 great trips. So Cordoba, Spain, it was like 500 euros and included everything. I mean, they picked us up in a bus, and it was hotels and a big chunk of the meals and tours every day. So that was a nice trip. And then last year we did a trip, a Douro River cruise, which the Douro River, Porto, it started there, and it was a beautiful cruise, and they bought out the whole ship. So we got a great deal. Again, I can't remember, like 700 euros. And it was French food, like rich French food, and we had so much fun. It was really, really beautiful. So AFPOP, a good organization to join. Plus, if you want the discounts for metal insurance to get the Allianz insurance, you'll need to sign up with them to get that group discount, which is a great price for insurance. I haven't done a lot of other shopping, so if you do shopping and you find other ones, please let me know. Share. I'm sharing with you, so share underneath so we can all help each other find the best deals and the best policies here. Auto insurance, I'll probably be switching mine. I used the Portuguese one, and then I saw on some sites that they weren't great about paying, so I'm going to switch. You can't switch midterm like you can at home, so I will switch over to that, and that's about $50 or 50 euros. Again, dollars to euros. It's about 50 a month. USAA was killing me. They wanted, I can't remember if it was 1,000 or 1,500, almost 2,000. I'm sure it was, all over Europe and America, but I didn't need to pay that much just to drive around Portugal. So I will let you know who I switch with when that comes up. Oh, and then an agent, because Coldwell Banker did bring me on board with them, and I love my team. I have a great team. They're in Cascais, which is right next to Lisbon. If you want to buy anything in that area, I have a great team. And what my team leader did was put together a big group of expats. So we have somebody from Australia, somebody from Italy. They have me, the American. We have a British, Canadian, Italian, and of course Portuguese. You have to have some Portuguese. And then even my team leader, Irish, hi Irish, he lived in America, and he's native Portuguese, so he speaks Portuguese, knows the people, the language, but lived and manages businesses in America. So he knows our style, how we would like questions responded to immediately, if not yesterday. And so the cost of homes, I'm going to give you a link so you can start doing your own research. We have a site which is kind of like Zillow, but it's not, because they don't have title agents here. They can't, where we record pretty much everything, and I'm going off of California data because I had a real estate license in California and trained Coldwell Banker agents there, so in their marketing and some other fun stuff. But when you're looking at the difference between how things are done in America versus here, because there's no title agencies and things aren't recorded, it's hard to know the price. And a lot of the things that you see online will be overpriced. So don't panic, don't freak out. No, everything is negotiable. The best thing you can do is look at price per square meter on what things have been selling for. Unfortunately, the data is also on what things were delisted. So somebody will say, oh, my house is worth $3 million. Maybe it's worth $1 million, maybe it's worth 500. And the agent say, oh, okay, we'll just go ahead and put it up for that. A year later, when it hasn't sold, and they go, why isn't it sold? Well, it's only worth 500. Well, tell them that up front. Say, this is all it's worth, and I'm not, you know how we are in America. I'm not listing your house for double the price because you're wasting my time, you're wasting my money. It's not worth it. So here's what your house is worth, and this is what we're going to list it for. And if you want to list it for overpriced, then, go pound sand or pound salt. That's that analogy, because it's just wasting your time. And speaking of wasting time, don't waste agents' time here. It's not cool. It's not cool to do in America. It's not cool to do here. When you have a real estate agent, yeah, you want to ask them questions, but when you have to think they're getting 100 calls a week, and then everybody wants to know, what area should I buy in? Well, you've got to come over here and look around, right? You've got to feel where you want to live. My friend Nick did do a video on the east to west of Algarve. I'll put that link on as well. And we're going to end up doing some Zoom calls together too, because again, part of building the network all across the Algarve of people who have the same like-minded attitude of, service and helping people. But again, don't run people around, especially not for free. It's not cool. They're not getting paid. When you fly over and you're like, oh, I want to look at properties all day. The toll roads are expensive, gas is expensive here, and you want them to drive you around 20, 30 properties, and you don't know what city you want to live in yet. This is your responsibility to come over and look and stay in some different towns. Definitely rent first. First visit the country. Don't move to a country you've never visited. Like, hello, the fact I have to say that boggles my brain. But so visit first. I know it's hard during COVID, but look at different videos. Then come get the vibe, kind of narrow it down. When my husband and I were looking, we went north to south, and my other little videos on that. We went up to Porto, stunning, beautiful, but it was a little too cold. And Lisbon, active, fun, a lot of life. Everything you need is in Lisbon, but it was like LA and New York, hodgepodgey San Francisco. And for me, for everyday life, I like country living. So I was able to find a little town of 20,000 people bordered by the river, a preserve, and the ocean. To me, that's perfect. And I'm looking at Spain right now out my window. That's the river to Spain. The Guadiana separates Spain from Portugal. And so I always like to say I'm in the Far East. I'm Spain and Portugal. I get the best of both worlds. Best of both worlds. Okay, tongue twister. Alrighty, so real estate agents, I can give you some good referrals. You do have to be careful because you have to remember they're using dual agency a lot here, which is illegal in many states and highly regulated in many places in the United States. What that means is they represent the seller and the buyer. And really, when that happens, the buyer is the one paying the commission, so you're being represented by both. So I always say use an attorney. I have a great one he was 1% of the cost, and oh my gosh, he held my hand and he was amazing. Hi, Tiago, I love him. Recommend him until the cows come home. If you have other ones, great, let's share. He's in the Algarve, he's in Faro, and he drove out even to hold my hand through getting residency after I'd been in my apartment for a while. He's like, you probably need to get residency. You got the rate, the property tax for residency. Property tax, $150,400 a year. Okay. Association, I'm in a lock and go place. So I do have a homeowners association, and it's $40 to $50 a month. We just had to repaint the building. Thank you, last owners, for not disclosing that. Disclosure laws are different here, so you really need someone watching your back. So the dual agency isn't always your best fit. You need an attorney, you want an agent who's going to represent you, maybe just a buyer's agent or somebody who takes you around, almost like a relocation person, to help show you around, and you just pay them for their time. Don't stop using people. If you don't want to pay money and come here, don't do it. Okay, so, and again, I'm pretty much taking the multi-million-dollar clients. I wouldn't take me. I know that sounds so lame, but it's just, I mean, the amount of people that want to live here and the questions, they're huge. I mean, I think we really need to do some Zoom calls, and then I'm going to structure this with Nick on doing some Zoom calls and answering a lot of questions. I talked to someone on the phone the other day, and it was 2 hours. While it was fun to talk to them, it's the same stuff. We're saying the same stuff over and over and over. I think a lot of people have the same questions. And you do need to network here. You know, be kind, be courteous, be friendly. If you're an ogre, stay in your hole. To the guy on my last video that asks, what's wrong with America? Oh my gosh, I got the funnest feedback on that. Nothing's wrong with America. Europe has history. It has amazing architecture. Europe is so cool. And for those of you that have traveled to Europe and love it, the idea of being able to retire in Europe is amazing. Plus, save some money because Portugal's a pretty good price, you know, when you're in California and you're in places that are similar like Carmel and Monterey, San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara. You're not going to get much of a house for, you know, $1 million. You know, my El Segundo home is now $2 million, and there's no grass. It's such a postage stamp property. Yeah, it was pretty, but it's almost $2 million now, which property tax on that is, you know, it was, I think $1,000 a month at the time, and now it's gone up to $1,800, almost $2,000. And you know how taxes are; they keep going up. So you know, you sell that, you move here, and you get a little bit better place. You know, for the places that are Arizona, Texas, some of the places that haven't reached, you know, the super high limits yet, it might be cheaper to live there for you than here, or lower cost, because I'm seeing even in COVID. Property prices aren't dropping. They should be dropping because the sales aren't there with the volume, but people don't want to drop the price. So that's what you run into, and that's why Idealista, which is on my list, you can click on. You can start doing searches. You can search by area. You can draw a little box. You can put a little heart, and they'll email you, just kind of like Zillow does. But just know the data is not as accurate, and don't get freaked out by the prices, because someone will go to an agent and say, I want $300,000 for a $100,000 property. And they're like, okay. And then 20 people list it. Literally. I have an internal system through Coldwell Banker. And, you know, I see sometimes 15, 20, 30 agents listed. So you'll also see the pictures sometimes are horrible. They've got clothes everywhere. It's like a nightmare, but the agents don't want to spend a bunch of money because they don't have exclusive listing agreements. So, and even my friends who are American agents, I still say make sure you're exclusive with everything you do, because people will run you ragged and then go to an open house and buy from that person, which isn't cool. Don't do that. If you're going to go to an agent, use them. Unless you don't like them, that's, you know, but have an appointment, make sure you fit, find your right agent, and stay loyal. They work really hard for you. Okay, yeah, be kind or stay home. We don't want the ogre. One guy came over and he was like demanding everywhere, and I'm like, ooh, you need to not move here. He was going into some of the shops and just being super demanding, and I'm like, oh, you're gonna be the American that wanders around. Everybody says we don't like Americans. So be kind, be friendly, and again, if you're an ogre, stay in your little ogre hole. Don't come here as an ogre. Okay, and you know, as it's a semi-socialist country, so people are very community-based, and they follow the rules. So when the COVID first hit, they in the first lockdown hit, people followed the rules and they didn't complain, and it was fine. It was just no big deal. In fact, we were watching the news from abroad. It was very interesting to watch what was going on back home. But you do need to network here. You just don't show up and have a bunch of friends. So if you're not social, know that you'll need to do things. Join charity organizations, social organizations, clubs. There's an expat group that you can pay to play. It's more in the center of Algarve, but you know, there's places. For me, I've always believed in charity and doing charity work, so I joined our Rotary met wonderful people who put me in the right world of helping others. You know, with the Zoom calls and stuff, it's been a bummer this year, but anyway, there's a niche for you. But if you think you're just going to sit here and everybody's going to come to you, that's not going to happen. And for the people that are asking, oh, are there big expat communities? There are, but why are you going to come to Europe to just sit in an expat community? Stay home. Like, what? Seriously, try to integrate. You will find expats, of course. My town is very authentic, and there's not a ton of expats, but I've still found them. The other day through my video, it was really weird. I was walking down the street, and these guys are like, "You're on YouTube." Like, we saw you on YouTube. You live near our building. We saw your terrace, and you live near us. You're on YouTube. And I thought, this is so funny. My little like help you video that was corny. Now people are like, hey, you're that American. Yes, I'm the American. But it is kind of fun. And so you can meet people every day, or you can stay in your hole and not meet anybody, but that's not fun. And you'll feel, you know, disassociated with society. So come here, learn the culture, integrate, make new friends, make local friends, make, you know, friends from other countries. Just have fun and have the right attitude. So you will need to network, AFPOP, charity groups, the pay-to-play groups, using the ATM. Oh, grocery shopping, gas, toll roads, and WhatsApp. So download WhatsApp. It's what most people use here. It's by Facebook, so if you're comfortable with Facebook and Facebook Messenger, it's very similar. But everybody, they use it because Wi-Fi and data, well, data is not unlimited here. Their packages can be expensive. So when they get to cafes, they use Wi-Fi, which use VPN, and I have a really good VPN I use, which is Nord. I'll also put that link on there, and it allows me to reroute my IP address to America. So if I want to watch some of my America stuff, or I don't want everything coming up in Portuguese, I want to see American sites and American Amazon versus getting rerouted to, you know, Amazon Deutschland or Amazon in the UK, then I'll put on my router for America, and I can look at American products, and I still send my kids and family and friends packages from the United States Amazon service. Grocery shopping, it's the same here. You have big grocery centers, you have small grocery centers, but you do have a lot more local places, which are so nice. Underneath me, I have a butcher. There's 3 cafes, 2 restaurants. You can go to the farmers markets, organic people, you'll be happy. There's Lidl, there's Aldi, and Aldi has a lot of the Trader Joe products. I go to Spain to go to Costco. It's an hour and a half to go to Seville. There's a big Costco there, so if I feel like I need my really thick, you know, aluminum foil, I can get that there, or I need just my monster, you know, roll of parchment paper or whatever else I use instead of getting the smaller packages. You know, you can do that, or you can just, you know, buy as you need instead of buying for 3 years like I do. I still love my aluminum foil from Costco. So tolls, speaking of driving, tolls. The toll roads here are supposed to be free, but they're not. They keep having that fight with the EU, but they can get a little pricey. And you do need a unit in the Algarve. So the toll roads in, like from here in the Algarve to, let's say, Lisbon, it's gonna be half with a human or a machine you can throw money into. And then the ones down here are only electronic. So as soon as you get here, if you're renting a car, make sure it has the toll pass. And when you bring your own car over or order the toll pass, you go to Via Verde. I'll put that link on as well. You go to Via Verde, type in your basic information, and I paid €5 extra and they delivered it the next day. So you just put the little device on your car, it beeps as you go through the tolls, and then it's taken directly out of your bank account. So you see all these random 5, 8, 6 tolls. It does add up, and petrol does cost more, gasoline, petrol. You pay by the liter, about what you pay in the United States, and it's about 4 liters to 1 gallon. So for all of y'all complaining about gas prices in America, and especially California, it's cheap, okay? Because it was costing me almost $100 to fill up my tank when I had my BMW, and now with the Kia, it's a little bit smaller tank. It's still about €60. It does cost less than Spain, so when Spain is open, I hop across the border, do some shopping, and get my Spanish stuff so I can get jamon and Spanish Rioja wines, which are so inexpensive. It's ridiculous. I mean, the Rioja wines are delicious. They're not exported. There's so many delicious wines that are not exported. In fact, I would say that's one of Portugal's best kept secrets. You know, they're Alentejo wines and local wines, super low cost. And we were having this conversation with expat friends yesterday. They're like, well, I got the expensive wine the other day. I paid €3. They were talking about, hey, I saw one for 70 cents. I saw one for €1. And I'm like, whew, I got fancy Reserve Rioja for $5. Try getting that in America. And that's the good stuff. Like, it's amazing. And then of course your champagne from Champagne and sparkling, a whole option of sparkling options. Because Italy, you know, just a couple countries over. So you get the cavas and the spumantis, and it is just ridiculously low cost. Yeah, you can dig and find a $50 bottle, but you really, you know, you have to really look to find that. And like, why would you? It's the same juice. It's delicious. It's yummy. And you'll get that too at a lot of your meals. They'll have what they call a tourist menu or a prefix menu, which is 8 to 10 euros, which is your starter, your main, a dessert, coffee, and wine. It's absurd. Here's a video of what I mean. So tourist menu means you get a kofert, which is a starter, the soup or salad, a promotional plate, which is down here, sardines, bacalao, fishes and things, and then you get a cake, and generally it includes also a drink and you can get a pizza for €6 to take away. Usually it includes drinks too. If you go to the Golden Triangle, yeah, you're gonna get killed the whole time, but there's some people that like that, and good on you. If you want to spend $100 every time you walk into a place versus going to all the local places, that good on you. But I love going and sitting and having cafes and wine and beer and having people, you know, come by, and then everybody fights over the bill because, you know, it's only €10 or €15. Like, I've got it. It's great, great mentality. Okay, so car, gas, tolls, grocery shopping. There's a big, beautiful modern mall called Mar Vista Shopping Center, Marvista in Lule. It's got the big shops, you know, IKEA, and then it's got a designer outlet next to it, you know, the Adidas store and the pots and pans store and the Puma outlet store, Timberland, Samsonite, a lot of the brands that we know, and then some amazing brands that are just here in Europe. So one of my favorite is Desigual. I'm probably saying that wrong. It's a Spanish brand, and they make beautiful clothes, and they're such great prices, and every single piece is different because the patterns are all different on every single one. So my neighbor had told me, oh, each, you know, item is completely different, no two are alike. And I had a friend come out from Kansas, and we went shopping, and she's like, in the designer center in Desigual, and she's like, are these knockoffs? I said, no, this is a real brand. It's a fancy Spanish brand, and the prices are great. And so, but you can just go into Spain and shop there as well, and you get their Spanish fancy clothes, or gelato, or their jamon, and their tapas are different. And you come over here, and then you've got all the great Portuguese brands and clothes, and you still have the option to get, you know, Aldi, Lidl, and farmers markets. There's farmers markets all over the place. It's really good that they use fresh local produce. Corvo, C-O-R-V-O, has a big crow. I think it means crow in Portuguese. They have only local farmer products. So sometimes you'll go in, one day I was asking for celery, and they're like, we don't have any. I'm like, how do you not have celery? That's such a basic, but nobody grew celery, so they don't have celery. Or the farmers markets, that we have one that's open in town until 11 or 12. Spain has one that's open until 12 or 1, and it is beautiful. It is stunning. I mean, you go by like the fish, oh, huge chunks of fresh fish, and I mean, they look like serious steaks and stuff. They're, you know, they're tuna steaks and everything. is that?
This is some kind of shrimp.
It's a really, really red one, huh? This is the market. Here's the Lidl in Spain. Oh my goodness. Yummy, yummy, yummy. We're taking a picture of donuts. Okay, they got the donuts down better than we do. Yummy. It smells so good, and I'm dieting. Ah, lots of organic produce. And come during siesta, it's not so crowded. Okay, so this video is almost hitting at the hour mark, and there's still a lot to say. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a part 2, which will just be questions and answers, which are 432. If you'd like to see that, then hang on. Hopefully it shows up as the next video. I'll see if I can get my techno brain out to make these videos bump up one to the other. And I'm gonna get a cup of joe because I can talk and it's been an hour and I need a break too. But don't forget, subscribe, because when you subscribe, I'll send out a note. Hey, here's a new one, a new video. If you want any updates, you know, click on subscribe to the to get the resource sheet, not just subscribing to YouTube, but subscribing to my actual little automated mailer that I'm gonna work on tonight. Okay, cheers from Portugal, and I hope to see you here soon. People in front of me going super slow, so I figured I'd pull out the video camera. How pretty is it right now with the cows, the green hills,
turn left,
the little yellow flowers. We've had so much rain here this winter. Doesn't this look like Paso Robles? This is crazy to me. I feel like I'm back in San Luis Obispo. Just about to get on the highway, but look at the pretty flowers.
in 400 meters,
Yellows and whites.
turn left.
Oak and olive trees, and really, they're gonna cut in front of me. And that way to España. And this way, going to my girlfriend's house for Christmas lunch.
Turn left.
We found a cool place in Tavira. It's called La Teresa, or Very Good La Teresa.
Light bulbs.
I think it has something to do with
Bloody light globes, for God's sake. Couldn't they think of something better than that?
Christmas ornaments. Sweet town of Villarreal de Santo Antonio. Even in winter. It's not freezing, but it's cold for a Californian. If it dips below 65, I am cold. Brr. And this is the very end of our street and heads up towards the highway. And this is cool. You can pull up and get your gas without actually pulling into a station. Hola! Tudo bem? Oh, and this is where you get the ferry to Spain when it's running. You come over here and then in 9 minutes, you're in Spain. Pretty cool. I love this building. So pretty. Perfect day in paradise. Yeah, there's some clouds. It's December, but it's like 70 degrees in the shade. Some nice little clouds that keep it from being too hot. A little soft breeze. Almost enough to keep the flag up. The Portuguese flag. Sweet little beach cafe. Toes in the sand. This is authentic Portugal. This is real Portugal. And then I just biked to get right here to this sweet little beach.
Come join me in ice cold beer. Sagres. A little virtual postcard from Portugal. Cheers.